regardless of how the other teams looked, the Knicks are playing basketball at a near perfect level. Like, it is, the offense is clicking. Guys are moving. Guys are cutting. Guys are hitting their spot ups. Guys are getting in and out in transition. Defensively, they're on a string. Guys are forcing turnovers. They're causing havoc in passing lanes. They're jumping out to shooters. Like, it is just a consistency at the highest level that we haven't seen before from this group, and that's where I'm most surprised, is because this has just been a team that's been willing to just go like this and almost just understand that's who they are. But kudos to them, where they're just not, they haven't settled, and they always talked about how there was a different level they could get to, and it appears that they've gotten there.
Yeah, I mean, we hit on it earlier, and is it just as simple as guys, finding their way in what Mike Brown wanted to do, what he was trying to do, but also accepting that the role that would best optimize the team. I don't know if it's just that simple, but just from my seat, I think that it
Feels like
played a
it.
big part in it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like guys are not fighting to get shots or not. I so often when Cat took a shot this season, you saw at least one, maybe two Knicks on the floor with him just throw their hands up, like I was here, I was ready,
Yeah.
and that with their body language was telling you a lot, and you
Yep.
saw that especially when they were going bad, and you saw it too, like if Jalen would take a shot and somebody was in the corner, and you saw the almost like a look of exasperation, and when you see that, it's less about the talent of the team and more about their ability to operate together. And
Yep.
when we saw that over the course of the year consistently, I just thought, all right, this team, they're not going to figure it out. They're going to get exposed. But there's been a change. And maybe it was a gradual change over time, or maybe it was a drastic shift for one player, a gradual change for another player. But it seems like that eye rolling, the exasperated looks when a teammate's taking a shot that you don't agree with, I'm not seeing that now. And maybe winning cures all that ails a team, but I do think there was a process there, different for each player, where these guys now seem to be very bought into what Mike Brown wants to do, what the coaching staff wants them to do.
I agree wholeheartedly, and that's why I think Josh Hart is kind of the linchpin of this whole thing, right? Like, and you've been in the locker room. Uh, they all like each other. That's not a question. But obviously, as there are with any team in any workplace, like, certain guys are closer with other guys. And I
Yep.
think Josh's ability to bounce around to every section of the locker room and have a real conversation really can go a long way. And then he also can be like, look, I'm sacrificing. And obviously, if somebody's going to tell Jalen they're messing up or he needs to do this better, Josh is the one to do it. And Jalen will listen. There's a respect there. I think Josh can go to Cat and be like, hey, man, like, we need you to do this. OG, we need you to do that. Mikhail, we need you to do this. And I think when it's the messenger, when it's Josh, somebody who's easily willing to accept a change in role and participate in the sacrificing, as that's been the buzzword for 2 years, I think it resonates. And yeah, just his ability to bounce around to different corners of the locker room, and I think be able to say how he's really feeling. Like, he says what he's feeling to us. I can't even imagine when the doors are closed and what he says to his teammates. Right? Like, I think
Right.
he doesn't sugarcoat things, and I think he really is the linchpin to this whole thing in a very spiritual way. The heart of the team is the corny thing to say, but I think he's the linchpin in a very spiritual way for this group.
Right. And, got me thinking about the starting role and like the consternation about Josh Hart starting. And I'm not saying, things will go smoothly and it'll be, and I told you so for everybody who thought Josh Hart should remain the starter. But let's say things go where the Knicks want them to go, and it happens with Hart in the starting five. I have an idea for the roommate show. The mean tweets that guys would read. I forget which late night talk
Yeah,
show host did it.
yeah. Was it
Gotta
Foul?
get- Was it Fallon?
Wasn't Fallon? It might have been. I know which one you're talking about. They used to do
Yeah.
celebrities do it.
Yep.
Kimmel.
Oh,
Kimmel.
thank you, Sam. Sam
Yeah.
Candell, producer extraordinaire. It was Kimmel. I
Yes.
need Josh Hart on the roommate show to read some of the tweets killing him as a starter. if it
That'd be
goes well and
good.
they get to where they want to go. I just need to see it because he would be really
Let's put
funny.
that in his
And
ear. Yeah, let's do that.
yeah, there's a
AL.
lot of heat, so I think that's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna suggest it. Anyhow, Mike Brown. The It's crazy to say, but it's true. Unfortunately for him, the jury is still out until the Knicks get to, in my mind, conference finals. And the reason you fall short there is because something that was beyond your control, or a finals. The jury's still out until the Knicks get there. But 53 wins regular season, playing at this level over the last few playoff games. What do you make of his impact and his role on how things have gone so far?
I think Mike has done an overall really good job. They hired him hoping he would collaborate more, another buzzword, hoping that he would give other guys opportunities, hoping that he would cultivate an environment where everybody felt like they could contribute in a meaningful way. And he's done that, right? Just the playoffs are an example in themselves. Dusting off Jose Alvarado, right? Bringing Jordan Clarkson back to life in the second half of the season, getting Cat to buy in to his role, um, getting OG to play some of the best offensive basketball we've ever seen him play, knowing that he's going to get touches if he moves and he's forceful and he just is very direct with the style of play. Um, I just think Mike he got a lot of crap in the Atlanta series, and you know what? Like, I, I think some of it was deserved. There was some coaching decisions, and he'll tell you that probably hurt them in those two losses. But ever since then, he's really pushed every single button correctly. It feels like he has a better understanding of his team. His team has a better understanding of him. And it's so funny because this is the offense it felt like he wanted to run when he got here, where it's read and react. One motion goes into another motion, and you have situations where you can use Mikal as a ball handler to get Jalen off ball. Then guys really weren't feeling it. It didn't really always look pretty. So what do? They go back to almost Tibbs's offense for most of the season. And then toward the end of the year, and now you start to see them get back to pieces of what Mike wanted to implement. And now it's almost like, see, guys, like when we play like this, you see how dynamic it can be, how unpredictable it can be. And it feels like the message was sent. It feels like guys understood that this is a style of basketball that is very much able to be replicated every single night. And just kudos to him for cultivating an environment where I think all the players feel empowered and feel like they have a chance to contribute in some way. And then also for him to be able to be flexible and like, this isn't working right now. Let's put this on the back burner. Let's try this to get through parts of the season, and then we'll revisit this later. And I think he's done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, the flexibility there and the willingness to listen. And, he's talked openly about this. And I don't know if a lot of coaches would be as transparent or willing to share the way he shared how much of a democracy it is for him and how much he listens, and his thinking can be swayed or overturned by what an assistant coach is saying or what a player is suggesting. And there's a security, I think, for Mike Brown in who he is, because a coach who's less secure, I don't think they're telling the media that. I think they're going to kind of create the narrative that, I'm steering the ship here, and the decisions that go well are mine. And Mike Brown, that really doesn't matter to him. He's very transparent about how he mentioned the other night, TJ Saint is on the offensive end, point of attack guy, Darren Erman, defensive end, point of attack guy, and he's credited Erman and Brendan O'Connor and Chris Gent a ton over the course of the year, Rick Brunson a ton over the course of the year for specific decisions that are made, for the way that they help prepare these guys. And he went on a 2-minute rant the other day listing his whole staff. And I think that the security there comes through to me in just being around him. And I think that can only help when things are rocky, and you're trying to get through a rough patch. When you have a guy who's a veteran and is secure in who he is, that element of it to me makes that finding your way through that process a little bit smoother. And so it's not an X's and O's thing at all. It's more of a personality thing, but that's something that I've gleaned this year just from being around him, being around the team.
I think that's a great observation, and I agree. And I think if we're being honest with ourselves and we want to just like have a real conversation, Mike is playing with house money. Figure like
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
like
yeah.
realistically speaking,
Yes.
like he was brought in specifically to do these things. there was the traits that the team put out there that they were looking for in their next coach. And those are the things you hear Mike amplify when he talks to us, like giving credit to a Rick, to a Chris Gent, to Brendan O'Connor, TJ Sink, list goes on, right? Like that's why we're here. Giving Mo Diawara opportunities, dusting off Jose Alvarado. These are the things the organization wanted to see. So the fact that he's talking about all the wealth being shared, that makes sense because he's also, that's why he was brought here. With that said, you're able, when you're doing what's asked of you and you're coming into a situation with these crazy expectations, all you have to do is just do what you were hired to do and be yourself. If it doesn't work, you know what, Mike Brown, here's 40 million, you can have a nice job on the island, right? But he's
Mm-hmm.
going to at least go out swinging his way, doing things how he feels a program should be run, and that's collaboration. That's getting guys to buy into a system where everybody can eat and everybody's moving. Defensively, getting them to buy in and be on a string. Like he's in a situation where if we do it my way and it doesn't work, we gave it a shot. We had high expectations. It's hard to win a title, but we gave it a shot. If it works, well, this is what they hired me to do, and I'm going to lean into the qualities that they saw in me, and really try to bring that out of this group.
Right, right. And I'll go back to even beginning of the year, James, and yes, he's going to do things his way, and that includes being open to not doing things the way he sees it
Exactly.
initially. Like I know that they were practicing a ton. Uh, I think it was
Yeah.
early in the year, training camp, preseason, maybe all of it. And early on in the season, I know a player went to him and said, "Look, man, like this is not
Let's
sustainable."
relax.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and he listened. And I don't know how much he dialed it back, but there was an adjustment. But I also say that to say that behind closed doors, uh, he gets into guys. He's not scared to challenge guys, to yell at guys. You've heard stories, I'm sure, James, about like the half times where he's getting into guys,
Yep.
and so it's not just kind of laissez faire, let everybody kind of have power. He also kind of lays the hammer down sometimes. I think he's got some of the last head coach in him with that respect, and so I don't think that's something that you see him talk about, but it's just something that's interesting to me. Like behind closed doors, there is that element where he's not afraid to get loud and to be intense and to challenge when he sees fit.
Couldn't agree more. And I think that's part of why he allows so many of his other assistants to have such a voice so that when he does speak, it almost feels a little bit more authoritative too. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you
Yeah,
listen to
yeah,
this
for
guy,
sure.
listen to that guy. But if I'm yelling at you or if I'm stepping in, like we need to,
Yeah,
this is time to get going. So I think he's created a great environment. I think that's the primary thing. Is it for everybody? Um, Whether reluctantly or reluctantly not, maybe not, but guys are buying in, and that's all that matters. This team is bought in right now.